Hello and welcome to the Black Diamond Advisory Podcast, brought to you from Splash 2025 in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Greg Beaton and my co-host,
Ryan Rostovsky, and today we have with us
Ricky LaBerge. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Ricky?
From Detroit, Michigan. I work for DexKo Global. We're located in Novi. We're a manufacturer of highly engineered running gear. So that means we make axles, chassis, brakes, things that go in trailers, recreation vehicles, agricultural equipment, things along those lines.
And what's your role there?
I'm the Director of Planning, Treasury, and Analytics.
That's great. So we all have a connection for DexKo because Ryan and myself implemented the system there and then passed it on to you. So it's been a couple of years now that you guys have been running OneStream. How is it working for you, and how has it changed your job, your life, and the company culture?
It works fantastic. If we never really have, I would say before the system we had from a planning perspective is really a repository. We had a lot of offline models. We were loading things in. There's a lot of issues, a lot of fire drills around that. We don't have that today. We plan within the system. We're spending a lot more time talking about the business instead of trying to get the numbers in the system.
That's great. No fire drills is the best thing I've heard. Yeah.
And you had an interesting role because you were part of the consolidation team when we did that implementation, and then you moved over to planning. So you've kind of gotten to see both sides of the OneStream platform.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really unique because I did all the development and testing on that side. So I got to see how that works. And then I got to move over, and Greg helped us with our implementation on planning. So I get to use what he built, which is awesome.
That's great. Makes me happy. So I'm assuming it shortened your cycle times, both in consolidation and in planning. Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, I would say before OneStream, we always had a target to close our books within 5 days. That there was a lot of things that would come up, system driven, that would make that difficult at times. We don't have that anymore. I mean, I would say we're pretty consistently, we still use the 5-day target, but I mean, we're issuing results to management on day 4. From a planning perspective, we're able to start working before the books are even closed. Just because the way the Accordion's set up. I think we're doing pretty thorough reviews, like probably a week before we did in the past on the planning side, and wrapping things up like several days before. And every year we're cutting off days.
That's great. You just mentioned the Accordion, which was something I want to talk about, the BDA Accordion forecast, which is something true to my heart. So one of the interesting challenges at DexKo was you were really an amalgamation of an American firm and a German firm that really did processes quite differently. We really tried to bring it together with OneStream to come into the rolling forecast with the Accordion, but we did make models quite separate for both the DexKo and the Alco brands. How has that really worked out a couple of years later?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's worked really well. I think we've had challenges on different sides, just understanding and learning the way they go. But in the long run, it's really taking two processes, put them together, and then we get a consistent output.
Right. Has it driven uniformity in processes?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of that's done through so I would say when we implemented OneStream and designed it, we thought about the processes we had going into it, and we wanted to put those into OneStream. But just because of the flexibility we have with the tool and all the extra things we couldn't do before, we've really rethought our processes, and we've looked at it globally. And like one of the things we've done is through it's our UD5 dimension, but it's an input layer, and we've now taken those layers and we've made them very unique things. So like we look at our input layer, that's always going to be our previous plan. We look at the second layer, and that's going to be any volume adjustments. The third layer is things our plant controllers, people that are within the business, really know how to adjust. And then we have a couple other layers too for BU leads and our corporate leads, so just in case we need them.
Right.
You mentioned flexibility of the platform. We were talking about this a little before, how we started with a cash flow model there, and then you guys about a year ago implemented a second cash flow. So I feel like that kind of demonstrates how flexible things are and that the system really can change as your business need changes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because one thing we noticed on the planning side was where like an actual like so cash tax is a really good example. Is so on the actual side we have roll forwards for our receivable payable accounts, and those really drive the cash flow. On the planning side, like we're just more focused on what that cash number is. So we got an input screen where we put our cash taxes in, our expenses calculated, just taking book income times the statutory rates that our tax department puts in. It really streamlines the whole planning for taxes, where before we had probably 50 people around the world planning them, and now our local tax team, which is just 2 people, are able to handle it locally.
That's great. You talk about 50 people around the world. How many users do you have in your system around the world?
I I think the number is about 100.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In many time zones, all working at the same time. Yeah, that's
Yep.
great. So one of the things I found in this industry that it's really a marathon, not a sprint, right? So we did a lot of work up front trying to come up in phase one with what you guys wanted. And it was a bit of a negotiation of what we thought was best and what you guys thought was best and what we implemented. And then you did a bit of a phase two, altering some things and fixing some things that you didn't like. Where do you see DexKo taking OneStream in the future now that you're fully all in on it?
Yeah, I think in the future, I think continuing to build out the way we use the accordion. I think right now we're a little static when we roll years, and I'd like to be able to build that out. I'd like to look at long range planning.
Right.
Right now we are doing that outside the system. It's really tops down, but it's all set up in that way. But the difficulty on it is just change management in general, right? Because there was a completely different ideology we had
Right.
to bring about to our 100+ users. So that's one thing. Leveraging AI. That's
Sure.
we're still pretty early on discovering what we can do there, but I mean, I'm excited to listen to all the stuff this week at the conference about AI.
As are we.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should be get some good stuff there. And then one area too where we can continue to leverage OneStream better is just in reporting results and analysis. So we've made a lot of ground with that in the couple of years we have been using OneStream, but I think we can continue to expand that.
Right. You mentioned change management. That's always a bigger problem than anyone ever gives it credit for, right? We can come up as implementers and as accountants and FP&A people of how to build a better mousetrap. That doesn't mean the people are going to use it, right? And that can be really hard. And it was actually really challenging, I found at DexKo, but it looks like they've really come around. Do you have any sort of advice to other companies on how to deal with that change management, especially on a global basis?
Yeah, like I would that's funny that you say it was a little bit of a challenge, but thanks, Greg.
I remember doing user training all hours of the night with different groups in different
Oh, yeah.
countries.
Yeah, we still use those stacks. Well, somebody within our business actually gave me some good advice on it. He told me like he understood like why we're implementing OneStream. He could see how I was making things better, but he's like, you got to teach people how it's gonna make their life better, and you got to think about like you can't tell them like you got to do this training now, you got to do like this. If you got to teach them like it's gonna be better because we're doing this, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. You kind of give people the why you're doing this instead of just forcing them to do something that they don't understand. How have you guys manage new users and getting them up to speed with training as you get new people into the system?
Yeah, that's definitely something that I think we can improve upon. But like we really use a lot of the materials that you guys put together and you gave us, and we get people up to speed with those.
Glad to hear you're still using our training.
Yeah, I mean, it was really helpful. I mean, you did so many of those trainings that we could have a lot of recordings available.
You are very good at it.
Yeah, Greg always says I have the patience for training, and he does not.
It's true. Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting, not want to go back to the change management thing, but because it was frustrating for all of us when I think back about it. It really was. And now in hindsight, a couple of years later, it was a real success, which at the time, I don't think any of us felt that, right? It was so frustrating. So, I asked the question, I'm asking it for myself too, right? In hindsight,
Well,
I
I think he summed it up pretty well when he
Yeah.
said it was a sprint because
yeah.
it was a very short window. We went live with consolidations and planning at the same time.
True, which is always difficult, right? Yeah, especially when because sometimes the accounting department and the FP&A department are always in sync or understanding how these systems can work together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off what you said, about the frustrations, I feel like it kind of just demonstrates though what a good partnership this has become over the years. And we're still working together, and you guys are part of our ERT, our executive roundtable, and we're still doing work together today. So it has been a success.
I would definitely say you guys have only given us good advice.
That's great.
Even if you didn't want to take it at the time.
Yeah, I would say to everyone, you should embrace the expert's advice always, because you guys have seen it a few more times than we have.
Well, on that note, thank you, and we'll be excited to see you around Splash and see what OneStream has to tell us. And the last point that I'll make is it also shows what great software OneStream is, right? How flexible the software was, that we were able to change your processes, bring processes from multiple continents together, and really speed up everything for both consolidation and FP&A for the full platform. So thank you for coming, Ricky, and have a great Splash.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.